gotta be honest.
That's not
even
what
if
it is.
hurts.
That's not
even
what it is.
I've
I
known
understand
you
that.
Forever.
No, I know.
Your whole
I know. I've done that.
You can't just
What
me.
I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. I told you.
You're not allowed
I
to
didn't
just run away
know.
from
I
me.
couldn't
You can't
do it. I
Yes,
couldn't
you can't.
do it. No, I couldn't.
Just do it.
I'm sorry.
This scene right here perfectly encapsulates what The Bear Season 4 is all about. For the first time in his life, Carmy is telling the raw, honest truth to someone he loves romantically. He is putting his whole self out there and admitting he didn't know what to do with the feelings he had for Claire. And for me, that's what The Bear Season 4 is all about. Exploring what could happen if we did say exactly what we feel to people more. And this theme starts and ends with Carmy. In Season 4, Carmy has this incredible redemption arc where he makes peace in every strained relationship that he has. He makes peace with Claire in Episode 3. He makes peace with his mother in Episode 9. He makes peace with Sydney in Episode 10. And he makes peace with Richie in that same episode, in what I consider to be the best scene in the show by far. And he does it with two basic tools: honesty and courage. I think The Bear in general is about connection, what real connection looks like, and how much brighter life can be when we connect with people on a soul level. It really doesn't happen that often. It's the most sublime thing you could imagine, to show all of yourself to someone, your whole soul, and for them to be okay with it and love you for it. We'll talk about Carmy more, but Episode 4 of Season 4, Worms, really kind of shows what I'm talking about from Sydney's perspective. She's getting her hair done by her cousin Chantel, who needs to leave to get more supplies. Sid is suddenly left alone with Chantel's daughter, TJ, and it's clear that they have no idea what to say to each other or how to really connect.
Your mom left, so saying hey.
But Sydney shows some effort, and they go out and they talk about their lives, and they end up connecting. It's beautiful to watch that happen. You know, Sid shares her love of cooking with TJ by asking her to grate the cheese or stir the pan. I couldn't help but think Sydney was trying to instill a love of cooking in TJ subtly in that little scene. And it got me thinking about my own extended family and how much they don't know who I am, and it made me want to connect with them even more. The wedding episode is another shining example of connection. Watching Sydney and Donna connect, like really connect, like Sydney was having a great time talking to Donna. That was something I didn't know that I needed in this show. And watching Richie and Frank connect when both characters are initially very intimidated by the other one was really heartwarming as well. A small moment I really loved was when Carmy saw somebody's leg sticking out from beneath the table and got curious and went over to see what was going on. You know, he's making the effort. He's taking that initiative, he's reaching out, and he gets rewarded for that with connection. This beautiful moment where like everybody from the show is underneath of the table all of a sudden and talking about all the things that they're scared about. And what even is a wedding anyway? It's a moment of connection. It's where two families become one. I think the creators of this show, this season, the writers of this season really kind of took that into consideration and knew what they were doing by setting the wedding as like the main major set piece of this season.
I think I've been looking at this all wrong.
You're not one of the rocks?
I think I'm the sand, man.
And Carmy has this amazing moment with Uncle Lee, Bob Odenkirk, at the wedding as well that I think kind of drives home this point as well. You know, Carmy is initially very apprehensive. He is expecting Uncle Lee to let him down and be a jerk because he's always been a jerk. And then Uncle Lee surprises Carmy by bringing his brother Michael back to life, telling him about all the things that Michael said about him that Carmy never knew about.
He told me you wrapped fish in potato once. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He told me you made something with ants.
I think this is actually like a really important moment in the show and also in this season. Carmy realizes that people can change, that there's depth to people that you can't always see. And by giving them a chance to surprise you, maybe you'll find something beautiful, something unexpected. Which brings us to episode 9, where Carmi's mother Donna apologizes to him. I think Carmi learns 2 major lessons in this season. Number 1, how to be open with other people. And number 2, how to allow other people to be open with you. This is Carmi's greatest test, reconciling with his mother. This is the final boss fight of season 4. This is the make or break moment for his character. It takes all the newfound courage he can muster to actually give his mother a chance. He visibly does not want to do this, and this is a very important moment for his character in this season because he's either going to give her a chance and take that next step in his development or stay stagnant where he is. And taking that next step is, believe it or not, it's the hardest step that he's going to take so far in the show. And Jeremy Allen White and Jamie Lee Curtis put on an acting masterclass in this beautiful, heartwarming, and even heartbreaking scene.
I never, did anything to look at my own problems, and I am now. I'm trying to.
You can see Carmi doesn't trust his mother, and she gets a little emotional, which he might read as hysterical, and that might make him think, oh, this is just more of the same from my mother here. And it puts him in this very precarious situation. It feels like 99% of him doesn't trust her to bring it home, but there's 1% of him that is holding out hope that maybe she will. And what happens? She brings it home. Against all odds, she says exactly what she needs to say to him. She apologizes in exactly the right way. And you can see a mother and son reconnect after years of not talking and distance. Donna steps back in the pocket with less than a second left and throws a 70-yard Hail Mary to win the game and puts the throw right on the dot to the receiver in the end zone. I mean, it's kind of insane. This is incredible writing. This feels earned. This feels cathartic. And Carmi does something that he's never done on this show before. He cooks at home for his mother. That is an incredibly tender thing to do. And I think it was just the perfect cherry to place on top of this reconciliation between him and Donna. This moment that Carmi shares with his mother Donna is actually reminiscent of the scene that he has with Claire in episode 3. She initially doesn't trust him enough to talk to him, and he has to plead with her to give him just a minute or two. He has to plead with her, basically beg her to listen to him, kind of like Donna does with Carmi when Carmi shows up at her doorstep.
Are you in a hurry? Can you sit for a second?
Yeah, I gotta get back to
But let me just a second.
And funny how both of these scenes start at a doorstep. He goes up to Claire's door and asks to come in, and he does the same thing with his mom, but yet the roles are reversed. And since Carmi was in his mother's exact position in episode 3, where he knew that he wanted to say something to heal the relationship. He wanted to say something that was good to Claire. He understands that maybe he needs to give his mother a chance here, and that, Claire gave him a chance in episode 3, and it was very important for him, and that maybe he needs to do the same thing for his mother in episode 9. For me, though, episode 10 is the real creme de la creme of The Bear. For me, it's the best episode of the entire show, bar none. It is an incredible fireworks display between Sydney and Carmi and Richie. I love the setup of this episode. It takes place in the grungy, dark kind of back section of the restaurant where people go to smoke cigarettes, and talk about the real stuff. It's a perfect setting for this final showdown of season 4 because we know people are about to talk about some real stuff, the dark stuff. When people change, like really change, It's kind of unthinkable, right? It's like, nah, you're screwing with me type energy, which is kind of where Richie takes it, right?
Richie, listen to me.
Carmen,
Okay,
go
I'm trying to tell you something fucking real.
Carmen, go
Trying to apologize.
I don't want to hear your
You're fucking letting me.
And I love the acting in this moment where Carmi and Richie go forehead to forehead. On Richie's side, it's anger, but on Carmi's side, it's love. And we watch these two opposing forces duke it out and eventually watch love win. And then we watch the payoff between Richie and Carmi. Richie opens his soul to Carmi, which is something he's ready to do after 4 seasons of character development.
But I was thinking, like, if this he's a fucking G if he can figure out this insane bullshit, you know?
Richie tells Carmi what he means to him, and real healing happens between these two characters. Full disclosure, I cried my eyes out at this final episode, and it left me with this sobering thought. How many times do we tell people how we really feel? Richie tells Carmi he bought a cookbook and looked through the pages and said, you know, if Carmi can figure this out, then he must be a G. Richie just tells Carmi that, you know? How many times do we tell people how we really feel about them? You know, like what we admire about them and what they've done for us. How many times do we actually do that? It's probably not that often. Like, not very often at all, really. Like, at all. Because we don't want to open our hearts and get met with indifference. I completely understand that. Maybe we don't want to be seen as weak. Maybe we're just scared. The bear imagines a world in which we did do that. And it's beautiful. I think so many of us long for connection, like real connection. It's very sacred. It doesn't happen a lot. Maybe once in a few years, you'll meet someone who you can be completely yourself around and who you really love to be around, and they love to be around you too. It doesn't happen a lot. The Bear Season 4 argues, I think, that we can connect even more with people if we had the courage to say something real to them, to really open up, to have just a few seconds of courage and act on it. And for me, that's the biggest life-changing takeaway that I got from The Bear Season 4. What did you think of The Bear Season 4? Let me know down in the comments below. I do film analysis and breakdowns of TV shows and movies and things like that, and if you want to get the written version of these videos before they go live, subscribe to my Substack, Filmalysis. The link is in the description. And if you want the video version of all that stuff, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I would love that. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.